Previously on the David Eagle podcast.
Weird euphemistic comments, belching.
I am a dragon. I do not obey the will of any man.
Google, do radishes keep you regular?
Rectum.
Oh, go away, you stupid dragon.
Guess the animal.
You leave my dog alone. You are stupid, but I am not stupid.
You may laugh, but you will not be laughing for long.
It's the David Eagle podcast.
Okay, I think we're recording. Do you want to do a little emergency recording?
I can do a little emergency recording just in case.
There we are. Oh yes, we've got Justin with us, everybody. Still doing that joke.
Every
Good to
time.
see you, Justin. Mr. Case to you. Oh, sorry, Justin. He's a bit standoffish. Anyway.
Which is good because there's not a lot of room on the sofa.
Exactly. There we go. We've started. I think you're all well and truly aware that it's toss time. And my goodness, what a hive of activity. Not only have we just received a letter from the doctor of Ellie there to say her kidneys are functioning well.
Yeah,
and
no problems with my kidneys.
And if you're wondering about her lipids...
satisfactory
lipids level.
My routine pathology satisfactory, and my haemoglobin has reduced.
There we go, everybody. So
sugar level in the blood.
There we go. I'm sure a lot of people's blood pressure will have been going up. We're recording this on the Thursday afternoon. Obviously, last night was the England-Argentina match.
We were watching it, but you were listening to the 5 Live commentary, as usual. I had the TV on with the 5 Live commentary. I said, well, you could sit here, because it's the same. We could just have the screen on and you have the commentary. And you're like, no, I need to pace about.
So I had to be in a separate room so I could pace about. Oh, goodness. That's been going on. We just received that. I said it was a hive of activity, if you remember. That's also because Ellie, just before we started recording, announced that a message from Steve just came in. Just in time. Oh, hello, Justin. Two Justins in tonight. Actually, ironically, he's just arrived. He wasn't just in time. You're not living up to your name there, Justin. Anyway, just in time there, Steve. So we'll read out Steve's email. We'll read out Olivia's email. I'm just assuming she's sent an email.
Yep.
Excellent. Any other? And we'll get a members update as well. How are your members, everybody? If you're a new listener, that's another thing. You think it's all medical. It's quite a medical themed podcast. We do Ellie's kidney functions, and then we ask how your members are. And do keep sending in your photos, everybody. Steve's just got in there under the wire.
Bit rude, mate.
Having a go at Steve there. Really lack of girth. Okay. We met a Facebook listener.
Yeah.
The David Eagle podcast listener on the Facebook page. We met Jeremy, who came all the way to see me in Sheffield from Stratford-upon-Avon. That's not the only weird situation I had involving Stratford. That was a weird situation. I had an old situation involving Stratford. I was in a curry house with Ben of Blind Monkey fame.
Housemate Ben.
Yes, former housemate Ben. We can't put him up now. We've got the two Justins here and all the other various characters. So I'm in this curry house, which is a minute's walk away from where we live. Ben had nipped to the toilet. We don't need to go into details there. That is, by the way, me casting no aspersions on the quality of the curry. You just so happen to need a wee, that's all, since you were wondering there. And someone just said, and I didn't know they were necessarily talking to me, but they're on the table next to us, and I suddenly heard this voice say, "Are you a musician?" And I thought, well, I presume they're talking to me. And I didn't know, because at the time I was using my phone because I was transferring the money to the curry house. And so I thought maybe there was something in the way that I was tapping away that just seemed quite rhythmic. And that's why they were asking. But it wasn't. As soon as I said I was a musician, these two people leapt up from their seats. "Oh, my God! Hey, you're in a folk band, aren't you? You're in a folk band." I said, yeah. And they said, "The Young'uns." Oh, and I said, yeah. And then they said, "Oh, my God, we knew it was you. We've come all the way from Canada, from Stratford, in Canada, and we saw you playing." And they told me, they mentioned this certain gig, and they happened to come, they hadn't just come to try and find me. They had no idea I was going to be
They weren't
there.
stalking you.
But their sister lives in Sheffield. The hell was that?
That was my water bottle popping.
Okay, that wasn't Eddie's kidneys. It turns out the medical thing was wrong, and we're going to have to stop this here. My sister lives in Sheffield, and we were coming to visit her, and we popped in for a curry, and what are the odds? So, yeah, I just so happened to see two people who saw us in Canada, and they were in the curry house that's a minute's walk away from my house. So, shall we start? It might have to be a bit of a short one this week. I'm aware that I've said that many weeks, and it hasn't been, but it might have to be a bit of a short one. Oh, sorry, I'm just looking at one of your members there. Good to have you in, Jeffrey. Ellie has to go to London.
Yes.
So you're off to London. It's a bit of an annoying thing. Your train has been cancelled.
Yeah.
And apparently you're not allowed to get the earlier one. You have to get the later one.
Yeah.
Which is ridiculous.
I can get the next one along.
If you're need to be there for a meeting for a certain time, what's the use of getting the later one? Surely they should go, your train's been cancelled, so you can get the earlier one.
Yeah.
Or the later one. The way the trains work is as if you don't have to be at a place. It's as if you've just gone, it doesn't matter if we get there or not. It does remind me of a bus journey that I took going from Scarborough to Middlesbrough. Take that off my bucket list. And then the driver said, we might only make it as far as Whitby. This is when we get on the bus. He said, we might only make it as far as Whitby. This bus is a bit broken down. We'll see how we get on. And everybody else on the bus was just like, they were all old-age pensioners. I don't know if I'm saying old-age pensioners, because presumably it's a tautology there. And they all just went, it doesn't matter, we don't mind if we end up in... It was going from Middlesbrough to Scarborough. He said, we don't mind if we end up in Whitby or we end up in Scarborough, we can get fish and chips wherever we are. And I was the only one who seemed to care whether we were actually going to its destination or not. So we need to be relatively quick. So I do apologise for that, listeners. Yeah, Ellie's off to London. I don't know if there's anything particularly interesting that we have to say about why she's off to London. I'd love to say that she's representing the David Eagle podcast, having sort of business meetings. She deals with all of the sort of the business stuff.
Which is why we don't make any money.
No, it's because the trains are always cancelled.
Yeah.
Our sponsors are going to be gone by the time...
I can't remember if we have read out people's favourite bit of the podcast when they've applied to be in the group recently.
Oh, well, let's do that. But before we do, which doesn't really make any sense. Talking of... before we do, when I was doing loose ends, that's not to do with people's members, by the way. There's a few people who sent us their prosthetic members in the post. There was a bit where I said something. I said about a family relative. And then I got a bit sort of confused because I was like, obviously it's a family relative. Well, it's a family and relative. You don't have to say family and relative. And I kind of went off in a bit of a...
You went on a bit of a spiral, didn't you?
Yes. I just started chuntering to myself for about 40 seconds, which I think the audience seemed to enjoy.
I'm very used to, but I think it is quite interesting for other people.
Other people to see. And then when I started standing up and started pacing, I mean, people seem to be enjoying it, but I thought I'd just start speaking really fast and didn't really take any breaths. I'm like, it's a family relative, you bloody idiot.
And you just, But
then I said, because I said about it being Radio 4, I don't know how this will make it into the show, I would imagine not. I said, normally I wouldn't do this, but I said it's Radio 4. It's a Radio 4 crowd, so they're bound to be pedants in the audience, so you can't get away with, pointless oxymorons. And it got a really nice laugh and stuff. Anyway, I was pretty pleased with the way that the show had gone. But then the following night, I woke up with a start at about 4 o'clock in the morning, and my first brain was like, my first thought... My first thought was like, we're talking about the bionic AI experiments that I'm doing. And my first thought was, you bloody idiot. It's not an oxymoron, it's a tautology.
As soon as I woke up, you told me that.
I think I shouted, tautology.
It was like one of the first things I heard as I woke. So thanks for that.
Well, it's really annoying because my whole point was I know there'll be some pedants in, so I just wanted to address this oxymoron, and then I made a mistake. And part of me thought, if I could have corrected myself again and went, it's not a bloody oxymoron, it's a tautology. Oh, bloody hell, I've got that wrong. If that could have been funny, but I didn't do that at the time. There's sometimes in gigs and things where you just wish we could ring people up and just say, can we call you back to the gig because I got that bit wrong. Anyway.
Well, at work this morning, I've just bumped into
This is another before we do.
Yes. Bumped into one of the trustees, Danny, and he said, I kept bumping into you at Crossed Wires and I saw a couple of things and I didn't realise it was your husband.
Crossed Wires is the name of the festival, by the way.
Podcast festival.
That's the podcast festival that we did in Sheffield. That is not what happens when Steve crosses his member with somebody equally endowed. Okay.
Danny said he saw you in conversation with Nicky Campbell and thought it was brilliant, and then he saw your stand-up and really enjoyed it.
Yeah, Excellent.
So-
He didn't think it was brilliant, but he really enjoyed it. See, this is how my brain works. I will find...
Look, I'm paraphrasing.
all
He
right.
was very enthusiastic about...
Yes, it's just the way my brain works. I will look for the insult. Even when Olivia says, brilliant podcast, I'll still read something into it, Olivia. We'll have a look at what she says this week.
Excellently brilliant.
Well, it was
one this
excellently
week.
brilliant last week, I think, you'll find Olivia.
Okay, so
should we do a member update?
Yes.
That's the before we do that
We
I was
are now
referring to.
on-
Hang on. Well, I want to do a recap. It would be very
Okay.
anticlimactic if you just tell me. So, I believe we've gone from 43 to 46, was it? Did we get to 48?
Well, we're now on 49.
Oh, so I can't remember what we were on.
So who's going to be the 50th member of the group?
Listener 50, might it happen?
Well, it's not listener 50 unless you include me.
Oh, right.
Group member 50.
Yeah, who's
And
going to be
listener
group
number
member 50?
51 would be listener number 50.
Okay, so group member 50.
Recent additions who have filled in the question. I can't remember if I've read
There
these
can't
out.
be many recent additions, bearing in mind we've gone up one, I
Have
think.
we talked about Pip?
I'm not sure.
So Pip's favourite bit is the Le Creuset references and the sense of being in a family. I saw you at Banterfest in Devon and listened to everything available on Radio 4.
Ah, lovely.
Pip's been quite active in the group and she's currently listening. She's on a walk. She is walking across the Pyrenees on the GR10 and has many hours on her own in the mountains with a very heavy backpack. She said, I've had to leave my two-handled Le Creuset pot at home as well as the teapot and butter dish. At 68 years old, the extra weight would kill me. However, I'm loving listening to you both as I walk along.
That's absolutely brilliant, Pip. Maybe you could send us a little audio diary or something, like observations from your walk, if you're still on the walk.
Yeah, well, she sent us a
Or
picture.
she.
Yeah.
See, I thought she straight away, but then you just said he. So you
I
said
don't think
he.
I said he.
There was a he sound that you just said. You went,
Well,
he.
I think I was going to read the next sentence and then you interrupted me.
So I was just about to say she, and then I thought, oh, hang on, we've got a he on our hands.
Here is what I was saying. You see me slurping red wine from the soup bowl with a Frenchman in the refuge last night. This was a few days ago. If you accept me in the group, I'll send you the link to my polar steps. And there's a picture of them at a dinner table. And I did respond with, it would be taking things to another level of doing a trek and taking Le Creuset instead of lightweight cooking equipment. Lovely to think we're on the trek with you, though. I'm struggling to walk into the kitchen in this heat.
Oh, I wonder how it sounds, Pip, when you're walking that and then you're hearing the story of the Brain King and the various walks that they do. Is that a little bit arresting, with the sound effects and stuff? Do you sometimes hear the sound of a monster? I mean, like last week, for instance, there was the monster. They were being attacked by monsters, weren't they? They were being threatened by monsters in the story of the Brain King. I mean, that could have been quite a weird experience if you're just walking by yourself in the mountains and you're hearing the howling and the growling and the Lord of Darkness shouting, men of dead, make them the dead.
Well, there are some more pictures that she shared. Day 14 was the toughest day so far, and there's a picture of a slightly perilous looking path along a cliff face. And on the right, where the cliff face is, there is a chain that you can hold on to as you walk along, because it's quite a drastic drop down to the left. So perhaps she was listening to the mountain walking.
Oh, yeah. Well, that could have been quite scary, because there was a
bellowing,
point when the Time Doctor is shouting about opening the mountain and exploding the mountain, and you're standing on the top of a precipice. I hope that didn't cause any concerns. Imagine how bad I'd feel. She had an accident because maybe it's like a Pavlovian thing.
Well, she's
when the
not
Time
posted
Doctor,
since then.
Oh, dear. When the Time Doctor opens the mountain, and then he jumped. He jumped down and down, and if she just thought, she's like in the thing, and she suddenly just jumps and thinks, oh my God, what have I done? What have I done? And the last thing she hears is the sound of my voice.
Well, Steve has posted a lovely picture of a beach and the sea. Following this discussion about when people are listening to the podcast, I invariably listen in the morning on my promenade walk, and here's my current view.
Promenade rather than promenade?
Yes, because I say things in the
promenade. I've never heard anyone say promenade before.
Okay. Helen
Promenade,
says,
isn't that, I think that's a fizzy drink enjoyed by brass band players.
Lovely. Helen says, I listen as I walk the dogs around Hillsborough Park, and sometimes this is slightly surreal when I'm listening to David also walking around Hillsborough Park.
I'm just thinking about my promenade joke and the brass bands. What song came to mind when you said promenade, and that made me think of brass band players? Listeners at home, or wherever you... Well, we're not, you know, you're generally not at home. On the mountain. Hey, keep hold of that chain, though, Pip. I don't want you go reaching for your phone to pause it and then take your hand off the chain.
I don't think I've got enough brain bandwidth for this particular
Okay, well, listeners,
puzzle.
have a little pause, see if you can work out what song came to mind when Ellie said, well, she said promenade, but when she said promenade, and I thought of brass bands. It was, Oh, I Do Like to Be Beside the Seaside.
Oh, yes, tiddly on pom pom.
Yes, I do
Okay.
like to stroll along the prom, presumably promenade,
Yes.
where the brass bands play tiddly on pom pom.
Yes.
Yes.
Steve goes on to say, of course, listening at this time of day does tend to make the oh my goodness drinking game a bit more problematic. And then a
Well, I
sort of
certainly
drunky
hope-
laughy emoji.
I hope Pip's not playing it. Oh, my goodness.
Simon says,
Oh, there was one by accident.
Simon says no one likes a show off Steve. Laughing emoji. Listener Jeremy says, what a lovely place to have close by. As a new listener, I was catching up with the old podcast while camping at a festival in Wales. It was only after coming home did I wonder what the other campers in a 20-metre radius must have thought to the strange man laughing to himself all weekend. And he's put a picture of the view from his tent, which is very pleasant.
What we maybe need to do is we need to work out the feature. Oh, firstly, I was just saying, Pip, if you're still on your thing, you could have taken some sound effects, taken some recordings, and we could have used those in the sound effects for the Brain King. I don't know how many more mountain scenes we've got, because obviously I have no idea what happens in the
No
story of the
memory
Brain
of it.
King until I start reading. And that gave me a very big surprise. Well, it gives you a surprise every week, but a very big surprise this particular week when I started reading, going, what the bloody hell's happening now?
Andrew said he enjoyed listening to the podcast about the spikes.
Do apologise, Ellie. I just need to interrupt you there. I know this has not happened before, and this will take people by surprise. But what do we do when this happens? I was thinking what would be good is if we could start working out how people can recruit listeners to the David Eagle podcast. And I would like your recruiting stories. Have you, could we call it recruitier? Doesn't quite work. Recruitier. Recruitier. Send us your attempts to recruit people to the David Eagle podcast. That would be quite interesting.
Have we got any listeners who are town criers who could go out with a bell and hear ye, you should be listening to the David Eagle podcast, available where all podcasts are released?
I mean, if anything, the irony of having a town crier in this day and age to advertise a podcast, which is kind of almost like the anathema of a town crier. Because if you've got a podcast in the media, it kind of gets rid of the need for town criers. So in some ways, they'd sort of be hoisting themselves on their own petard, because they'd be telling people, hear ye, listen to, put something in your ears, and everyone's listening to the podcast while walking around, they won't be able to hear the town criers. So they're kind of doing themselves out of a job, kind of in the same way as call centre staff in a customer service thing, when they always have to tell you on the script that you can do this online, where they're just constantly forcing themselves out of a job. Okay, well, that's a response there. Very much
Well, I
yes-anding
just
there.
thought
Who needs to yes-and when you can...
I
work for
thought-
Shaggy. Work for Shaggy.
Mr. Bombastic.
Well, it's because he was...
Yes, I know. No, you sound like a cow.
This is Shaggy crossed with a cow. But it wasn't Moo.
Yeah.
Oh,
There we go.
Thank you very much. We've got first joke down. 2 more to go. We'll call it a day.
Carolina. Yeah.
And he says something about jump
on
a grass.
Yeah.
Hey.
Eat the grass.
Mr. Rudder. Milk my udder. Anyway. So it's happening now, everybody. Oh, careful,
Maybe-
Pip.
Do we put a vote in the group of do we get David Eagle tested for ADHD? Let's put a poll up. It might take a few years.
What happens if I've got the ADHD, you're going to stick a poll up?
Yeah.
That seems a little unfair. Oh my goodness.
Other things going on.
Second, my goodness, there.
Other things going on in the group. Andrew said,
Yes, Andrew.
I just enjoyed listening to the episode about the spikes, but didn't get the point of them, smiley face. Unlike David.
Oh, very good.
And
Very
then
good, Andrew.
I've put the video of the cold brew tea that we used from the tea sommelier.
Did you remember to put the football video on?
I did forget to put the football video on, so
yours too late now.
well, well, we could still put it up somewhere.
Dear, we say we're going to do all this and then we just don't do it.
Well, I do have a job and a house to run and my own... But you don't do the housework, mate.
I do the dishes.
You do the dishes and I do the other stuff. So me forgetting to post... Yeah, but me forgetting to post something...
Well, when we say we're going to do this, and the listeners should really...
I don't listen back to the podcast straight away.
Well, the listeners should hold us. The listeners should hold us to account as well.
Okay. Yes, and then slightly stressful news from Olivia.
Oh no.
Yeah. Keep hearing about field fires with all this dry, hot weather, but did not expect to arrive to this close to home. Less than 30 metres from our front door, you can see the golden field through the trees on the right and the charred part on the field to the left. House is a bit smelly now, and not just because I live there, lol. Fire emoji. So, yeah, one of the fields not far from hers got a bit charred. But what's lovely is that the group has rallied round and checked that she's all right. And she said, we're okay, thanks. First heard when a friend messaged asking if we were okay, at which point I started worrying about the dog because we were out at the time. But it's all good. He was fine when we got back. It's just sad to have missed 7 units of burly firemen. And then...
I didn't even measure them in units.
Well, it must have been quite big if they brought... Now, is that one fire engine with 7 firemen on?
I don't know.
Or is it 7 fire engines?
I was going to say how you're measuring your firemen, Olivia, but I really don't want to know about
Not with
that.
all this member talk.
I do have a story, Olivia, about... Because we were in a school and I had an interesting experience with some nursery children, so I'm going to get your thoughts on... Well, I don't know if I am going to get your thoughts on that, but I'll tell you the story. You can give me thoughts if you want. But anyway, continue.
So the last bit of discussion was entirely instigated by me. So when you're waking up in the morning, David Eagle, you quite often sort of stretch your arms out and you do a little click of your shoulders and a click of your fingers. And because I've done my now 2 life drawing workshops, I thought, it'd be lovely to do a drawing of David. And you were stretching your arms out. So I took a photo that I could work from later on because I wasn't asking you to do a pose. And I realised that the positioning of your arms and the way that one of your hands was stretched out looked a little bit like the painting of Adam from the Sistine Chapel, The Creation of Adam. What that painting shows is on the right-hand side, God reaching out with a finger, and then on the left, Adam reaching out with a finger, and they're just about touching. And so I have done a very poor Photoshop where I've taken your sort of upper body and head and put that over the painting of Adam so that it's now the creation of the eagle. And the painting of Adam does have his penis out, so I've covered that with your Spirit of the Fringe award.
Oh, right.
I've also not done a very good...
I felt a rustling in the bedsheets.
I've also not done a very good Photoshop of it because it was just a rough version. And so you can still see one of Adam's hands underneath. But overall, it's quite a good match. So I put it in the group saying, should we update the group photo? And it was a resounding yes. So now the header group photo is you reaching out to God with the Spirit of the Fringe over your crotch.
Okay, so if you'd like to see that, then in 6 months' time, Ellie might remember. Oh, she's already put it on.
It's already there.
Then get yourself on the Facebook group. Okay, where to now? Is it time?
I think we need to do the Brain King.
Time for the story of the Brain King. Actually, Olivia, I was going to tell Olivia this, wasn't I? Well, I said tell Olivia, I'm telling everybody. If you could
everyone else just skip forward 30 seconds.
Yeah, you could all... I was going to leave a little thing to Olivia. We were doing one of our school projects. The head teacher, I think I know what they were trying to do, but I wouldn't necessarily say it was achieved particularly well. I think because they wanted to involve the entire school in the songwriting process. They decided, because there wasn't going to be enough time to put us in with each class, this head teacher decided what they'd do is they'd mix the younger ones in with the older ones. And there were entire classes mixed in. I don't know why they'd worked it like this, but it meant that we were doing year 6s with the nursery children.
That seems really
That's a massive gulf. So for those people who don't know, that's like kids between 10 and 11 with 3 to 5-year-old kids. And obviously you tailor things completely different. How you write a song with year 6s and how you write a song with a 3-year-old child is very different, obviously.
Yeah.
The year 6s, they've done their SATs now. They're going to break up. They're going to move school. This is like their last 3 days in school. And so they're like really excited. Some of them are just playing up because they're like, well, it doesn't matter anymore. Others are just really excited. They all know each other, so they're all just having a conversation. So it was so difficult to get the year six's attention. And of course, the nursery kids, they're really excited. Not because they're misbehaving, just because they're just so excited that this thing is happening. To make things even harder, obviously I can't see when kids are putting their hands up.
Yep.
And then the trouble is Sean's trying to type things out. But the way that they'd positioned the laptop, he had to kind of have his back to the kids. And it was like the other bit of the room. But then there was one bit where I was trying to get some rhymes from the nursery kids. I thought, well, let's involve them. So while the year sixes were trying to find these rhymes, I thought I'll sit down with the nursery kids. And I sat down on the floor, cross-legged on the floor, and I started chatting to them. And then the children, the nursery kids, they just scaled me. Like I would say originally it was like 2 kids just started crawling on me, and then more and more followed, and it just felt like the entire class were crawling on me, pulling at bits of me. Like one of them was like almost scaled up to my shoulders. And then one of them got very excited because he noticed that my eyes were moving about.
Yeah.
Because not being able to see, my eyes move around a bit.
Yeah.
And so one kid was like, your eyes, they're moving about. And then, of course, all the other kids wanted to see. And then they were like, because the other kid was pointing at my eyes, but I think their spatial awareness isn't necessarally great. So this kid was just poking me in my eyes, going, what's wrong with your eyes? And I'm like, well,
At the moment.
And also, what the other thing was, I didn't know how to sit. Because originally my hands were like here on my knees, and these kids were crawling on me. And then I thought, oh, God, like, I know that none of the teachers are going to think, but when you've got kids crawling on you, and then this kind of, I suppose, day and age or whatever of, safety and safeguarding and all of that. So I ended up going into this pose. I can't really do it because I'll cover the microphone up. Well, I will do it, but it might cover the microphone. I've got my hands on my shoulders. I adopted the brace position. I adopted a kind of brace position because I just thought if the teachers can see, anyone who walks in right now,
you're not touching anyone or anything.
I'm not touching anyone.
Apart from yourself. That's wrong.
And yeah. Hold on, I'm just touching myself. I've just shouted that out needlessly loud. Hello, Ratio. That was very odd, and I just sort of sat there. And also, it's then difficult to know how to move. Yeah. Because if I stand up, loads of kids will fall on top of, fall over. And so I was just like, right, okay, everyone. But they're not interested. They're just, what's going on with your eyes? I'm like, I'm trying to explain what's going on. I couldn't because they were just so excited about it. And then once one started pointing at my eyes and poking my eyes, the others started doing it as well. And they were very nice, but they were just very excited. So you've got that and the year sixes, and you're also trying to write a song at the same time. Yeah. Very difficult. But anyway, we managed it. Anyway, it's time for the story of the Brain King. Ooh. So make sure you're in a safe position for this, Pip. Because it could get dramatic. It's very difficult to know how to recap the story of the Brain King. So, as I've said before, go back 5 episodes from the episode titled The Story of the Brain King and just skip in to those story elements. But I'll do a very quick recap. It's almost pointless recapping because the idea is we seem to be on an adventure. Me, a 9-year-old called Dan, that is who I am in this story, and Marisa, my friend, who's also 9, I believe. And we're on an adventure to save my parents and Marisa's brother Harry, who have been sucked into a computer screen and seemingly can't get out. So that's the idea. The reason I'm saying this almost pointless recapping it is because in the last few episodes, even though I think it was episode 2 that we established that we needed to rescue Harry and my parents, we then started going on this adventure where we've met a whole range of odd characters. We're now on the 6th instalment of it, chapter 7 I believe we're on. This episode, like all the other episodes, there is no mention of Harry or my parents, or how any of this is bringing us any closer to saving them. I don't know how much time has passed. There's not really, is this all happening in 1 day, 2 days? Presumably not weeks and months. There doesn't seem to be any sense of urgency. I would say if I was in the situation and you had the Time Doctor, who's one of the characters, blowing up mountains and shouting at dragons, needlessly, I would say. Also the situation that we seem to be in now, where you have Grenchol, another kind of wizard character. He's taken us into this tomb. Yeah. Along with our friend Hairy Toe, who was the original person who came up and manifested out of nowhere and just said, you need to come with me and that'll help you save your parents.
I've got a shortcut through time.
And so we just started No explanation as to why we'd even need to go through time, why we're even going to any of these places, and now why we've ended up in a tomb, having an argument with the Lord of Darkness. And Grenchel, the wizard's method of arguing is just to kind of insult him, which is exactly what the Time Doctor did when he was talking to the dragon.
It is a theme of your writing.
They just seem to just insult the character. They don't sort of... And they never explain how any of this is getting us any closer to finding Harry and my parents. So I don't know what's going on, basically. So what happens, basically, is I don't know what's going to happen. I wrote this when I was 9 years old. I've not read it since. I couldn't even remember that I'd written this story. So what happens is I'm reading a chapter at a time. When all that happens is I set up the microphone, sit down, press record, pick up the book, start reading. And there's times where I'll just start and I'll just go, what the bloody hell is going on now? And then I have to think, right, okay, I've got to put a voice to this. This particular one, when I started reading, bearing in mind what had happened just before, when we left the chapter, when I started reading, I was like, what the bloody hell's... Let's just remind ourselves of where we left our story so you can hear what I mean by this contrast. Here we go.
Forward, friends! Forward we walked, but do not think we got out so lucky. The Lord's guards howled. The Lord shrieked, After them! After them, men of dead! Make them the dead!
Okay, so there's howling. Yeah. There's growling monsters. The Lord of Darkness in his tomb, deep, deep beneath the mountain, apparently, is telling the dead to make us the dead. So... we're in danger here.
You're being chased.
We're in danger. How on earth are we going to get out? Okay, if indeed we do. If indeed we do. Right, it's time to find out as we head to part 6 and chapter 7 of The Story of the Brain King.
The Story of the Brain King by D.A. Eagle. Chapter 7. Out, but not out of trouble. My name is Bob Tag Tiggerwag. My name is Bob Tag Tiggerwag. I live in a cage. I live in a bag. My name is Bob Tag Tiggerwag. When you're in trouble and things are not right, Bob Tag Tiggerwag will be in sight. Whether you're on land or in the sea, Bob Tag Tiggerwag is coming for thee. I've come to hunt you like rabbits. You let my friends out. My old friend Grenchel and Hairy Toe. Their lives have not ended yet, but yours have, my friends. I invade your foul den. Bob Tag Tiggerwag to the rescue once again.
Okay, firstly, had you been again reading the Chronicles of Narnia? Because it sounds a bit Puddleglum.
I think it's Lord of the Rings.
Oh, yeah.
I think Tolkien-esque.
Yeah.
We are number one for the phrase, for the word Tolkien-esque, according to that podcast provider. If you search for Tolkien-esque, you get the David Eagle podcast. It's the Lord of the Rings.
Is it Tom?
It's Tom Bombadil, I think. It's Tom Bombadil, who's that kind of similar character.
Yeah.
That sort of eccentric hero. But I love the fact that we've just gone from this make them the dead and these monsters, and all of a sudden this man, this hero who carries a
banjo.
Here we go. Yeah. I also think Lord of the Rings has a lot to answer for in terms of the fragmented nature of the adventure, because there's lots of those moments in the Lord of the Rings. Obviously, it could just be, well, we go there, we go here.
Yeah.
But it's kind of like there's all these side things and all these side characters, isn't there? You know, which I suppose is the mark of a good novel. So I think I've learned that
your world building
from Tolkien. So I'm doing that, obviously in a shorter space of time, without the ability to actually explain how any of this correlates to anything that's gone before.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm just hoping that I haven't forgotten about Harry and my parents. I may well have, because we've not mentioned it again, so we might have an adventure at the end of it. We just go, right, we're home. That was good, wasn't it? And we've...
Oh, no one else is here. Oh, yes.
Bloody hell. To be continued.
Bob Tag Tiggerwag was a strange little fellow. He carried no weapons, but merely a banjo. Bob Tag Tiggerwag was a friend of Grenchel and Hairy Toes. He also knew the Time Doctor, and here he was now. He was as old as the Time Doctor, and he could tell things what to do, and they would just obey.
Nice.
That's a useful skill.
Yeah.
Now the graves opened, and we stepped out.
I love how nonchalant it is.
Yeah.
It's like, we are the Lord of Darkness, make them the dead. And now it says the grave's open, we step out.
Looking down was Bob Tag Tiggerwag, standing on a rocky place. We stepped out onto the rocky land and looked around. The land was very rocky.
Just in case you hadn't worked out how rocky it was. I don't know whether you want to drink every time I say Rocky or Bob Tag Tiggerwag in this episode.
The land was very rocky and had sand. Bob Tag Tiggerwag then said, "Okay, you rabbits, shut your dirty toilet." And the graves shut with a clatter.
I don't know why he's calling them rabbits.
Because they live underground in tunnels, like a rabbit.
But it sounds like it's his big insult.
Yeah.
All right, you rabbits.
You rabbit.
I also like the fact that he's calling it a dirty toilet. It's tombs with all these monsters and creatures who presumably could do a lot of harm, and they're just listening to Bob Tag Tiggerwag with his banjo. He's got no weapons, apart from a banjo. Insert your own jokes there.
"Okay, you rabbits, shut your dirty toilet." And the graves shut with a clatter. And then there was silence. Then Bob Tag Tiggerwag spoke. "I am glad that I came when I did, and not after,"
Yes,
said Hairy Toe.
it was well that you came when you did. You and I, Grunchel, and Marisa, and Dan here would have become the dead to serve the will of the Lord of Darkness.
Which makes you wonder why they went down there in the first place.
Yeah, what was the point?
What was the point? We never established why they went down. And I like the fact, again, the nonchalant way in which Harry goes, "Yep, it's a good job you came, Bob Tag Tiggerwag, because we would have been
absolutely
dead.
buggered.
100% dead." Which makes you just think, what is Harry doing? What's Grenchel doing? Why are these characters leading these two 9-year-old children into certain death?
Yeah.
If it wasn't for the fact that we have a man with a banjo who can tell people what to do and they'll obey. Also, it makes you wonder how the graves hadn't opened at this point. And also, if you remember, it said that this tomb was far, far beneath the mountain.
Yeah.
And now Bob Tag Tiggerwag is standing on a rocky land, which has sand. So how do they hear him? You've got all these howling, growling monsters, and do they just hear above them this faint voice from the banjo plucking going, "My name is Bob. Okay, you rabbits, open." They just opened the grave. And I also, when they opened the grave, and we stepped out, so stepping. Doesn't sound like, and we climbed out, or we jumped and Bob Tag Tiggerwag gave us a hand, or he lowered down a chain. You know what I mean? Like, it just sounds like we just nonchalantly stepped out.
"You speak well, Bob Tag Tiggerwag," said Grenchel, joining in. "If you had not come when you did, we would not be alive." But Marisa and I did not speak. We remained silent until the time came to speak. The time came sooner than you probably expected, for it will come very soon.
What?
No idea.
Yeah. Carry on. Because it needs to be sooner.
But at that moment, a noise like a drum came. A rolling drum, though it was not. "What's that?" I said, listening. Bob Tag Tiggerwag, Grenchel and Hairy Toe stopped their speaking and listened. "Drums," said Grenchel.
Horses.
Said Hairy Toe. But Bob Tag Tiggerwag said nothing, but kept on listening. At last, though, he said something quick and sharp, which made us jump in alarm. "Guns! Up, everyone! Behind the trees! Quick!" Bob Tag Tiggerwag jumped up to his feet quickly and then sprang behind the trees. We followed him. We crouched down, listening to the pound of guns getting closer. "Shh," Bob Tag Tiggerwag said. But neither Bob Tag Tiggerwag or Grenchel or Hairy Toe were right. As the sound came closer, Bob Tag Tiggerwag said, "No, it is not guns, drums or horses, but a dragon. And on that dragon comes a man. And the man is Gillamorad, King Pelagost's knight."
So a new character on a dragon enters the scene.
"Gillamorad, King Pelagost's knight," said a voice loudly. "Ah, Gillamorad, so tell me, why do you ride here?" said Bob Tag Tiggerwag. "My master said to me before I set out on my quest not to speak to anyone. Say 2 names. "Well, what were those names? Tell us them. We ourselves might be those people." "Well, give me a clue who you are," said the knight.
Oh, God.
Is this reminding you of anyone?
Yeah.
The conversation we had back in episode 3 with the Time Doctor and Hairy Toe.
Well, you tell me your name first. No, I won't tell you my name until you tell me your name. I'm like,
Well, I'm pleased to say Bob Tag Tiggerwag is a bit more forthcoming
Okay.
when it comes to telling you his name, as
he
we've
has
already
said it a number of
established.
times.
"Give me a clue who you are," said the knight. Bob Tag Tiggerwag began to pluck his banjo, and once again he sung, "My name is Bob Tag Tiggerwag, my name is Bob Tag Tiggerwag. I live in a cage, I live in a bag, my name is Bob Tag Tiggerwag. When you're in trouble and things are not right, Bob Tag Tiggerwag will be in sight. Whether you're on land or in the sea, Bob Tag Tiggerwag is coming for thee."
So what I like is...
Yes.
He thought we were being attacked by guns
Yes.
a few seconds ago. Now he's just playing his banjo merrily away.
"Bob Tag Tiggerwag," cried the knight. "Yes," said Bob Tag Tiggerwag. "Well, I greet you, for yes, that was one of the names I wanted to find. But the other one, I will tell you, is the Time Doctor. Where is he, Bob Tag Tiggerwag?" "He is dealing with the dragon," replied Grenchel. "My name is Grenchel, by the way, and this is Marisa, and this is Dan. The Time Doctor was with us."
We're not introducing Hairy Toe.
He's not bothered with Hairy Toe.
Hairy Toe's just off at the side, picking his nose, going, "Oh, do I not count?"
Actually, and also, how much of this story is people just introducing themselves?
"The Time Doctor was with us when he had to deal with a dragon." "Oh, did he? Well, the king did not tell me this," said Gimalorad. "When did the king send you to find my friends?" said Grenchel. 2 months. But since then, I have been dealing with other affairs. But it would take too long. We haven't got time to go into all of that."
That's another...
That's one of your favourite
That's another
phrases.
David Eagle trope at the age of 9. He's just sort of saying something going, "Oh, we haven't got time for that, no."
We'll come back to it.
We sat down, and Hairy Toe, who was very good at these things, lit a fire, and it crackled as the light of the flames flared. The fire came in sparks that shot like tiny arrows upwards, and then got smaller and smaller until they vanished.
Now, bearing in mind, I've never seen a fire.
That's a very lovely description of how sometimes a fire is.
But I also like the fact that, why am I describing a fire in detail? It's so,
It's world building, mate.
This part of our story that you are hearing now, and the next part, is meeting other characters.
Surely not.
Because that's what we need. Not plot development, but more characters.
But also just preparing the reader.
Yeah, exactly. There's going to be more people.
This part of our story that you are hearing now, and the next part, is meeting other characters. And some will be introduced to you very shortly. In fact, very shortly indeed. You'll only have to hear another page before you hear about them. Next time on the story of the Brain King. Chapter 8. Level 4. Knock at the door.
So there we go. The level conceit is back. Because at the start, it was
thought
doing
we'd-
level 1,
yeah,
level 2.
yeah.
Do we ever do level 3? I can't remember. But we're on level 4 now.
Yeah.
Of this story. I don't know why they're levels. I don't know what the level element means. I still haven't worked that out. A lot of unanswered questions. Will we ever find out how this is, if indeed it is, bringing us any closer to finding out?
Rescuing anyone.
Because what is the Knight of King Pelagos's quest? Do you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
what's the point? Why has he turned up? Why does he want to find Bob Tag Tiggerwag and the Time Doctor? Has it got anything to do with Marisa and Dan? Has it got anything to do with that at all? Are these two 9-year-olds just... What is going on?
What is its mission?
I have absolutely no idea. And also, why would King Pelagos... Surely King Pelagos, he's a busy man, I'll tell you.
Yeah.
I know that much about King Pelagos. Surely he's not going to concern himself with 3 people who've got stranded in a computer game. I've no idea what is going on. I don't know whether you have or not, listeners. Feel free if you want to give your predictions of what you think might be happening. Part 7 of the story The Brain King next week. It's email time. Let's find out what people have been saying as we head to Steve.
Hi guys, just a very quick one this week. The oh my goodness drinking game could be extended to my friend, and bloody hell, with a different drink being taken for each phrase.
Well, if someone would like to do, I mean, this is where AI could really help. What are my most common phrases? I'd say, oh my goodness is a bit ahead of my friend. Is bloody hell exceeding oh my goodness? I think oh my goodness has got to be up there. But it'd be great if we could get like a count of like, and it shouldn't be that difficult to do now because it's all subtitled. It's all, so surely there should be some way in which you can you go through the transcripts of the David Eagle podcast and tell me some of the most common phrases that make an appearance?
I think the Walking Dead lanyard was a gift from a grandson.
Why?
No further explanation.
Okay, thank you, Steve.
Phrases I never thought I'd hear. Number 2, riffing off the fart.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's what I was going to do. Maybe I will do that, actually. At the end of this podcast, Ellie will be going to London by this point.
Yeah.
Wonder if I can take that fart and just create a little something from it.
Even though I'm a church charity trustee, I'm actually
it's
an
easy for you to say.
It was. I was worried about reading that and I did it and then I didn't get to finish the sentence because you interrupted with it easy for you to say. Even though I'm a church charity trustee, I'm actually an atheist. Don't tell the other trustees, laughy cry emoji.
Oh, I like it. You're on a sort of an infiltration mission.
Maybe
Steve,
he's
what's
the
going
sleeper
on?
agent.
Oh, Steve, that sounds like a good story. Well, in fairness, Steve, I don't know if this is why you're doing it, but one thing I like about the church, I suppose, is its community aspect. And so maybe you feel that the church is a good sort of way of being active in your community. It does a lot of good. And even if you're not necessarily believing in God and Jesus, that you think, well, I can do good in the community here. So I wonder if that's the reason that you're doing it, Steve. In which case, that's more to be applauded. I would argue, I'm sorry about this, Olivia, if you don't mind me saying, than the people who actually believe. You're not doing it because you believe and that you think you'll get something as a reward. You don't necessarily even believe that there is heaven to get a reward from. But yet, you are doing it just because you're a good man, Steve. My God, Steve. If you want, by the way, do feel free to have this as a sort of a motivational alarm call. Maybe we could put some...
You're a good man.
We could put some... well, I hope I wouldn't do it as quite as perverse as that. You know. Oh, Steve, you're a good man. It's amazing what you could do with that wire.
Hi, David and Ellie, another fab podcast. I loved the previously on the podcast segment at the beginning. I'd been missing those on recent podcasts and they always sound amazing, so definitely worth it from a listener point of view, even if they're a job of work to edit. Heart emoji. I enjoyed the rhyming couplet, laughing and rolling crying smileys. And don't worry, I will indeed send an email to let you know if I can't ever email in, winky face and thumbs up. No, not that sort of winky face, David.
Not that sort of thumbs up.
She's then done rolling crying laughing smiley, aubergine winky euphemism emoji.
Who would have thought for a podcast where you're sending emails essentially to a blind person, the use of images is absolutely incredible. So good job, Ellie's here. I'd love to, maybe we should put one of Olivia's emails into my screen reader and see what it does for the emojis, perhaps.
For the emojis.
Emojis, whatever.
Emojis. I love that you say emojis. Could the cat relaxation reference have come from your episode in which you talked about music in your barbers? The word pussy was heavily used in that episode. Cat emoji.
Maybe. Pussy relaxation music. I don't know what that would consist of.
Story of the Brain King. I love how it's an amalgamation of Lord of the Rings and Doctor Who. The language used and the scenery, particularly the mountain, and the idea of being under the mountain is very Mines of Moria. The Black King scene reminds me of when Aragorn sought help from the army of the dead.
Well, it definitely was. I did have... my dad... I think my dad read the whole... He's definitely read the whole of The Hobbit to me when I'd have been younger than 9 when he read the whole of The Hobbit. And I had the radio play of The Lord of the Rings. So I would have definitely been inspired by that.
Absolutely loved the Black King song. I'm really impressed that you wrote all this at 9 years old.
Oh, my other question to Olivia was going to be, because obviously, Olivia, maybe it's different for you being a woman, and also because you're in a sort of teaching capacity and you know the kids at the nursery, but presumably you have kids crawling on you all the time. Do you also adopt the brace position? Or do you feel as if you're able... Actually, maybe you're not meant to say, because maybe officially you're not meant to touch a child, but obviously you're in your duty of care, you know what you can do, but maybe you're not allowed to admit it. So I don't know, but I was just wondering how you deal with that when a child... I think it's different when you're just going into a school and also probably that you're a man as well. I'm talking about me here now, Olivia. I think that's different, but it was quite strange just having these 20 kids crawling all over me and scaling me. It was the scaling that was crazy, because it was like, we'll go as far as my shoulder, and then these kids almost perched on my shoulder. They climbed right up. I think some of the kids were using each other to kind of climb on me, and then once one of them had seen, they were like, oh, this is brilliant. And as soon as the pointing of the eyes started, my goodness. Oh, my goodness. Trouble is, when I say my goodness, I'm then aware that I say my goodness, and then I say my goodness again. I mean, there's just a flurry of my goodnesses there.
The football, we didn't hear the 1am Mexico match at all last week. I was expecting to be woken up, but we heard nothing. I was very surprised to discover that England had won when I checked my phone in the morning. Then there was the 10pm Democratic Republic of Congo match, and we'd gone to bed.
No, it wasn't 10pm, that one, Olivia.
Okay.
You're thinking of the Norway match.
Ah, yes. But we'd gone to bed and then heard cheers and shouting about 11pm, and then I fell asleep, so nothing after that. Again, I was...
Some people were watching cheers rather than the football.
Again, I was amazed to see that England had won when I checked my phone, having woken up at 2am. To be fair to England, if they do win the semi-final, we will watch the cup final as we feel we owe them that, and they've earned enough of our full support by then. Football is the wrong shaped ball for us. We prefer the rugby, and we celebrated hard when we won that World Cup in 2003. How is it that long ago? Teeth clenched emoji. I met some of the members of that winning squad from the rugby in 2003.
Why?
Because they were in my Burger King. They'd come in on the...
And he used to work in Burger King.
On an M40 services. So they'd come in...
People will be now visiting that Burger King.
Well, it's not the same one because it burnt down
Okay.
after I left. Wasn't me. When you sign off and say goodnight or goodbye, I don't know why, but I always have the image of you sitting up in a bed like a 1950s sitcom couple.
Why, Olivia?
And David
Dressed
is
as a
wearing a
fireman?
nightcap. And I'm pretty sure this is not the case. Laughy smiley emoji.
No, but maybe we could do that. We could get the costume. We could do that. We could do it as a special video for the podcast.
Yeah.
As a reward for Olivia's loyalty.
I mean, they have now seen a picture of you in the bed because of the one that I took. So, and actually, I'd forgotten to say that Steve had gone, why have you not put a dressing gown on the Adam figure?
Ah, good point.
And I should have done, but I'm not that good at Photoshop, but he has suggested using AI for it. So we'll see. Best wishes, Olivia, kiss, kiss.
Excellent. Thank you, Olivia. Thank you all. Hopefully, by next week, we'll have got to not only member number 50, but also listener 50 in the Facebook group. Wonderful. How do they find it?
You just search listeners of the David Eagle podcast on Facebook and it pops up with you painted naked.
And you get to see that photo of me.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, everyone, for listening. From me, David Eagle.
And me, Ellie Eagle Skinner.
And me, Justin Keys. And me, just in time.
You put your hand on me again to tell me to
Oh, you can
do
be just
my
in time
name.
if you like.
No, but it's
All right.
funny how...
Yes, I did put my hand on
next
Ellie.
and you...
She knows, yeah, you know that you're coming in. Because if I say from me, David Eagle...
And?
Yeah, but for some reason I always put my hand on Ellie's
and you
back.
talk now.
To say, talk.
Say your name.
From me, David Eagle.
Me, Ellie Eagle
That was
Skinner.
without me touching her. There you go. Look how well trained she is, everybody. Bye.
Bye.
BBC Radio 3. I've been working at this radio station for 25 years, and never have I heard such an exquisite and remarkable piece of music. That was David Eagle with his composition, Music for Piano and Fart in E flatulence. And that was the third movement. David will be appearing shortly at the Royal Albert Hall, accompanied by the Soiled Filth Harmonic Orchestra.